Do it.
Yeah. Which I did join one just as a quick play. I joined an actual 4-person team, and everybody was like
Hmm.
standing around this one area. I guess they couldn't figure out what to do, and one by one they left, and it was just me left, and I had to pick up like a hard drive or something, and then like fiddle with it. Like I had to do a couple things at the site. And I could tell everybody was like confused by it and couldn't do
Yeah.
it. And I ended up completing the whole mission, although I barely like during the. It was very hard to extract because there were people coming at me, and I had like one life left, but I managed to get out of there and completed it by myself. It's like, you assholes.
Yeah. Just ditching.
I'll do it myself. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chat from the Deep, our weekly live stream post-session discussion. We talk about what just happened during D&D. This is the chat for session 22, so if you've not watched that session yet, please go do that, because there will be spoilers. I'm your DM, Eric, and joining me, we have Gottwald's player, Chris.
Hello.
Max player, Raymond.
Hello.
We are in the perfect storm between vacations. Raymond has come back from vacation, and Chris is about to go on vacation, and we're at the synergy right now where we can have a nice D&D session.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at this fucking dust of sneezing and choking, holy crap.
You gave it to me, man.
I know, I did. It's, well, now that I'm reading it, I think I remember at the time, and I didn't think anything of it, it's supposed to be like a potion of poison where it's like you don't know what this is until you use it thinking it's another thing. Because it says in the description, it appears to be dust of disappearance, and an identify spell reveals it to be such. But when you use it, it's actually the sneezing and choking thing. So it's like a trap item that you're supposed to use when you want to like use it to disappear, like for your whole party or something, and then it affects that. So
Yeah.
but I did give it to you as a legit, like, oh no, maybe it's just labeled as whatever. You can tell. I don't, for whatever reason, I didn't think anything of it when I looked at it, but you used it brilliantly where it's like, hey, it's a bar fight. I've got this big AoE thing. A DC 15 is actually pretty high, and that completely changed the context of this fight. Like, completely balanced it in a crazy way, and I was not prepared for it. I had completely forgotten you had this item. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. We had the whole dragon event first, which was certainly designed as a social scene. I would love to hear from you guys what you thought was going to happen with this dragon at the end of the adventure.
I mean, I assumed we wouldn't have to fight it because, like, it's a full. You described it. You literally said like it's an adult black dragon.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
We've learned
And,
not to mess with dragons.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, I can't even remember. Like,
Wonder how often we meet dragons in our D&D adventures and actually fight them.
there was one.
I feel like we
where
fought
you
more
had-
of your
you had
dragons
one.
than mine.
That's true, but you had one that we kicked its ass. I remember. In like a mine.
Tomb's dragon.
Underground. Was that Tomb? Yeah.
That was
It
I think that was a
underground.
young red dragon, yeah.
Right, and
I
really somehow we aligned things and we
Yeah.
really kicked its ass.
That one, I don't think I probably ran that dragon very well, but I think it was alone. Like, it was, it
Yeah.
definitely got its ass kicked.
We like
But
snuck up on it or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember the situation, but yeah.
and it was the end of the dungeon too. It was like the actual
This to
boss
me
fight.
was more like you're talking about my dragons in Storm King's Thunder when you guys got brought in front of that red dragon.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you're surrounded by cultists.
I cited that same event during my crafting stream where it's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make a whole map for this with like tokens and everything, because I like that Chris did that during that scene with Clouth in Storm King's Thunder. Even though that was not designed to be a fight, but we still had the map and still had that scene take place versus looking at just like an overland map or whatever scene we were on before. So I did throw an entire map. Well, I didn't make the map, but it was Gabriel Picard from Marketplace, but put the tokens on there and put the dragon on there, and just knowing that it was not going to be a battle, but it's just cool to have that visualization and see like the size of the token and everything.
Honestly, I think it's really effective at like putting the fear of God into us.
Yes.
Like we're looking at the map. We're looking at, oh, there's a black dragon in the middle of this map, surrounded by undead. Like, this is not a situation we want. Like, it really sells. Like, looking at the map sells it as like danger close. You know.
Yeah, which was certainly part of the point of that one. I also wanted to play the dragon in kind of a different way, I guess, more of like a smooth talking kind of criminal mastermind, almost like a mob boss, versus just kind of some imperious asshole or something.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think a lot of us were trying to play him like as dragons are often played as like
emotional
like emotions. Yeah, like they can be manipulated by their how big they are basically and how arrogant they are. The fact that he didn't give a shit that he'd been played was like, oh, okay, well, we have to approach this a different way now.
Yeah. And he was predisposed to help you all, I think. Yeah. So he didn't, if we start off like where the relationship meter was in terms of like you guys would have to really piss him off to end up not going your way. And he was also predisposed to help because he is a necromancer. He's really into the necromancer stuff, and that happens to be Savra's shtick.
For sure.
And that was going to be part of it, was definitely relying on her to do some RP during that scene. And I thought it'd be fun to have the payment is like, hey, you fucking work with me now, or work for me now. And I'm slowly making everybody like have pacts with various creatures.
Right, yeah. Yep.
Throughout this adventure.
I think it's cool for Savra because like we talked about before, like her her background thing was kind of vague and we hadn't really gotten into it, like the I don't know, something about a dark star or something.
Yeah.
But giving her like now she works for like a necromantic dragon, like, okay, that's pretty good.
That's true. That helps for that too. And she was like, hey, do you want your wand back? Like, and everybody was pretty much playing ball with that. So I wasn't planning on like extorting you all necessarily, but I did just want to throw it in the ball in your court and just be like, all right, well, he's going to want something for this information. He's not just going to give it up like right away. But knowing that I still wanted to give you the information, obviously, just so you could continue on to the last step of the story, which as written
it's not like Heather was reluctant to work for it.
Yeah, she was immediately like, yeah.
She was like, yeah, great.
Right. As written in the book, obviously I made the Ned difference. The other one is just some deep Scion character, but I was like, all right, well, let's make that Ned, and Ned's now
Ned back.
Ned's now a deep Scion. Yeah. He's joined up with the Kraken Society. This is wonderful. Good use. I always wanted to use Ned. I originally thought about using him in somewhere in the the Neverwinter attack somewhere, and never quite panned out. And like, this is a perfect chance for this. In the book, that part is part of the book where like somebody from the Kraken Society hired the undead pirates from the dragon to go hunt the Aboleth. So all that is from Call from the Deep.
Yeah.
Where you go is you go to this other Earth moat that's near Neverwinter, which I guess there's two. That's it's an enclave of druids, I think, that work with the sea and the ocean. And one of them is just a Kraken Society member is in disguise, which is this Deep Scion. And you don't even, I think, catch up to him. You just like find his diary or something, and the diary's got information about seeking Tentrix or something.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, all right, well, I don't want to do another Earth mode thing. That's weird. I don't really feel in the druid thing. I was like, let's just fucking give him like the criminal thing, because that's what Ned is, and we'll just throw him in the city. And I went through a lot of different things. I was like, we could do like a chase sequence. Maybe he's in the sewers with a whole lair. But then I looked at the timetable going, well, I feel like we need to hit this like climactic moment kind of as quickly as possible. And also because the timing of the sessions, I want to be able to end the arc with this session.
Sure.
So let's just have him.
You probably assumed correctly that we'd have a little bit of a social session with the dragon. Like that would take a while.
I had no idea how long it would take, but I did know that was going to be a scene. Yeah. And then after that, I was like, let's just try to montage them basically to this bar and just say, hey, the operator, I'll give them kind of a time thing. And like even Garander was like, let's get onto it. Don't just dilly dally. Make sure you get this now. This is like part of this quest arc. And just go to this tavern. And then, and when you walk in the tavern, it wasn't even like since we already did the big social scene, I was like, all right, the tavern's just going to be a fight. Like, it's basically as soon as they walk in,
it's just hostile.
It's hopefully you guys don't get tired of like every person already knowing you in terms of like the dragon was like, oh yeah, the Aboleth was like, oh yeah, you guys. And now Ned is like, it's you guys. Like, you guys be like, all right,
well,
fucking.
Ned makes a lot of sense. Like, Ned knows.
But Ned knows you. Yeah. And your reputation is starting to precede yourselves, especially in Neverwinter, right? If you went some other island, like nobody's going to know you, but Neverwinter, like shit, it happened here. You guys are, recognizable. So it kind of makes sense that people would know you, and including the enemy. So yeah, there were And honestly, I just used
He warned us. Like it's. I almost imagine it's like that sequence in Training Day when they're going into the neighborhood and they like see like pigeons flying. I'm like, they're just announcing a present. Like you can't even go in there without everyone knowing that you're there. You know, that kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, and yeah, I love the fact that I could tell Mac because of his experience, like, hey, this is a nasty place. Even you don't want to like go around here. So I did hopefully like foretell that, like, oh yeah, it kind of makes sense that like half the patrons would pull out weapons and actually be villains to attack you and turn into a big bar brawl. But so, I was
just to clarify though.
Yep.
Not all of the patrons had the mark of the Kraken on them, but only the ones that did attack us, or were there other ones that didn't have that mark that still attacked us?
Yeah, and you can check the bodies afterwards. But yes, everybody who attacked you, it was designed that they were actually all marked with the Kraken Society.
Okay.
So they had a big presence here in this, but not everybody in the building was in that group, and that's why I said some of them were just fleeing and trying to get out of there, even though they were probably ne'er-do-wells or whatever, scoundrels, but they were like, whoa, whatever shit's going on here, this is not part of it.
We're not part of this fight.
Yeah, but there were definitely a lot here, and Ned was kind of the ringleader of this immediate organization.
I try to think back, and dude was a good actor. We thought he was just a nice guy back in like the first session. It was
and I love the fact that I was like, the Deep Scion thing is perfect because the Deep Scion's whole shtick is that they can transform and make them look human, even though they can also transform into this really creepy, like, you know, fishy, monstrous visage. So that kind of plays along with his whole thing. But at this point, you guys know him, and so he wasn't planning on. There's no duplicity left. It's just a big battle. Shout out to the Dragon X team who makes Monster Manual Expanded, because I used the Deep Scion Assassin stat block from Monster Manual Expanded 2. So that is a special, stronger variant of the Deep Scion that can do basically sneak attack and bonus action, all that stuff. I did not end up being able to do all that much because he was incapacitated for a good chunk of the fight. I used a lot of, honestly, pretty basic stat blocks here. In retrospect, I probably should have cranked it up a little bit, but so the Deep Scion Assassin is a CR6. I think a regular Deep Scion's a CR3. So this one is supposedly significantly stronger.
He didn't get to do a ton.
Unfortunately, he didn't get to do much. Yeah, you guys did a great job of zapping everybody out. In total, besides Ned, you had 3 Cult Fanatics, which are CR2 stat blocks. Those were your spellcasters, and I gave them additional spells. I don't know if they end up... They used, like, the Summon Tentacle was a... Or no, Spiritual Weapon was a spell they had. They actually... Yeah, they didn't get to do much either, because they were kind of shut down. Inflict Wounds, I think they already had. Yeah, I might have given him a Healing Word. I don't remember. Those guys...
A couple times.
Yeah, those guys were shut down a little bit, but they had some more options. We had 1 Bartender, which is a thug stat block, who was really shut down because of the fucking Hunger of Hadar. Basically,
couldn't get,
you had 2 really great AoE moves. One, and again, initiative matters a lot. You guys had the 2 initiatives, which I actually went first with a couple guys, but like, I unfortunately didn't get my spellcasters or Ned before you guys did. Hunger of Hadar went down, immediately trapped like 4 people, slowed him down, like took Ned like 2 rounds to get out of there. Like, and created a void to where like it kind of eliminated 2 other people who had to escape from it, and then they had that blackness in the middle, which Lumpy pointed out, had Raymond gotten to the back of the door, he would have been able to take out those 2 in the back, but then there's that inky void. He would have run into the same problem my characters did. He wouldn't have been able to fire in because of the thing. So maybe Toril might have had to take it down or something. So
probably more effective, at the front door. Like,
it ended up being more effective at the front door, I think. And then 2 spy stat blocks, and I think 3 cultist stat blocks. So a pretty good amount of stuff. Just most of them were, kind of basic, lower level stuff, I guess. But I figured you guys were also at the end of a adventure arc, and I know, like, gosh, you can short rest here. Gottwald's got no hit dice left. Sarah's got a good amount of spell. Like, I'm trying to like flavor things as being like, you're not getting a big long rest before this fight, so flavored accordingly. But yeah, just between Hunger of Hadar and then that dust stuff, really knocked out everybody for a solid round or 2, and allowed you guys to start doing like kind of cleanup duty on everybody. So by the time I was able to start fighting back, I think The Deep Scion was at half health, I think, by the time he actually transformed.
Yeah.
Which did take him in action. The Psychic Scream was cool. I stunned, a lot of people, and that
very much worked.
That was a fun moment, so I got to take advantage on some attacks. Unfortunately, most of my guys, I think, were dead by that time. I did admit I fudged his health a little bit, which I don't hardly do. I usually fudge it the other way. I usually take people out when they get low.
Oh, yeah.
I did allow the Ned
for a little while.
Basically to survive another round. Yeah. I think Savra's Chromatic Orb took him out whenever she did like 25 damage, which I mean, I don't have to admit that. You guys can see it on the tape, but and I was like, fuck, this guy's gotten his ass kicked. He's hadn't been able to literally even pull his weapons out. This is just not going to stand for me. I'm going to make an executive decision as a DM. He's going to at least get one turn of him trying to stab Toril with his weapons. So I tried to RP that he's like really fucked up, really damaged. He did get some healing, and then raced up and managed to do that one really cool stab attack on Toril. Got a crit, and then of course crits Toril's armor deflects it. Yeah.
Well, again, it's very funny because if Reese hadn't said
he hadn't noticed it,
he said those words like 5 minutes earlier. If he hadn't,
I would have been so excited. I would have been
just rolled with it. Yeah.
I would have been so excited, and then would have been so deflated after he came back.
Yeah.
God. And who knows? We would have downed him. I think probably.
Yeah.
Maybe it's hard to say. I don't if the sneak attack damage would include. I don't know, but.
Right.
He would have had to come back and be like, all right, what happened? And then he'll be like, oh, wait, crits don't. And we had to go all the way back. Like, What a disaster. So I'm glad he remembered because I would not have remembered in that moment. But anyway, yeah. So thankfully, I made a decision there, which I don't usually do. And I will admit where he did survive basically an extra round. He had 88 hit points and I had to have him survive an extra round. That's how effective you guys were basically during this combat encounter.
Yeah.
And I nicked you for a little bit. I nicked Savra for a little bit. I didn't touch Mac until the very end when, ironically, that one chick stood up and just raced at you and cut Mac up for a little bit of damage. But it was a fun fight. I kind of got my ass kicked a little bit, but honestly, you guys also just used your abilities, I think, really effectively.
Yeah.
No, I know that.
Fun fight. It was,
yeah. Sneak attacks normally do double damage. I guess I assume even with NPCs it does, even though it's part of a separate paragraph. But I guess it can be part of it. Oh, hey Patrick, very off topic. I want to thank you for Rime of the Frostmaiden and Crypto Advice new DM to the module. So helpful. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're enjoying that one. If you want, you can watch 2 years of that campaign.
Yeah.
So many crafting streams, or just watch the DM. Tips videos, or just watch. I think I made like a final epilogue crafting stream that has all my information from it. But yeah, you've got tips from me before I run the campaign, during the campaign, and then after the campaign. So I have thought about that.
I've seen a lot of similar comments. It seems like people are very helped by watching somebody like physically like build the shit, because that's the part that everybody has to do on their own.
Well, a lot of people pointed out to me that not many people on YouTube do both those things, where they do a live game that everybody can watch and also do a live building session with just the DM. Yeah. I know folks on YouTube do obviously tips.
And you can see how it plays out.
Right. They do tips videos, but then they won't show the actual game or, the other way around or something. So it's been a lot of fun for me to do those crafting streams and been helpful for me as a DM too, because I get a lot of advice from folks that can jump in and tell me how to do stuff. So much stuff, or just absolutely great. It's not necessarily build by committee, but it's just wonderful to be able to bounce ideas off people as well.
Right.
So yeah, this was the big climactic finale, battling against the return of Ned. I loved at that moment where the dragon revealed that the name was Ned, and it was like, wait, it was like a record scratch. Like, wait a minute, we know Ned. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. It's such a good name for a villain. It's like it's just such a dumb name that of course you're gonna remember that it's Ned. Of course,
well, and it's one of those funny things that going into the campaign beforehand, you never know how much impact necessarily any of these NPCs. You might have some ideas, but some are just nobody's gonna care about, and others suddenly become a joke or a meme or a memorable thing to where you're like, oh shit, I gotta use like Blista the Goblin or something. These characters become larger than life, and the characters have this as a target, and I've got this NPC in my back pocket. So
yeah.
I know at one point I was even planning on using an entire Ghosts of Saltmarsh module that was going to be taking place after, to where like Ned has fled to that module and you have to go hunt him down. Boy, your webcam is doing some crazy, creepy lighting stuff.
Me?
Are you seeing that?
It is, isn't it?
It's like a horror movie.
Make sure I don't have any ghosts in my room.
Yeah, I don't want your door to open right now. It will scream. I honestly, I hate it when people have doors to their back.
Oh,
their camp for that. It's a very horror. Yeah.
Like it could open at any time.
It could open anytime. Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted.
That was weird.
I literally lost my train of thought. I was too creeped out by it. Climb. Sorry, Ghost of Saltmarsh module.
Yes.
I was thinking about using that as like that's where Ned is hiding out. And you have to go do this whole module to reach him. And I had it in my notes for a long time. I was going to do that. Basically, I wanted each of these quest arcs to use one of the Ghosts of Saltmarsh content. And then as I started developing it, I started realizing that no, the fun adventure is going to be the Earth Moat. And then by the time they do the Earth Moat, the Ned thing needs to not be a whole big other adventure dungeon crawl. It needs to be... Now, I was still thinking it could be some kind of city, chase scenes or sewers or something, but this ended up being probably the smallest version of that. But this is still, the fourth or fifth session we've done this quest arc at, so that's...
Yeah.
I think it was enough. So I ended up expanding a part of the book that was not an adventure location, other than it like Storm King's Thunder, where it's like a paragraph of information, a couple paragraphs of information.
Yeah.
But it didn't have like its own dungeon crawl or anything necessarily. Versus using something from Ghosts of Saltmarsh that was already a dungeon put together. So this was, although the story structure is from Call from the Deep, this is probably has a lot of the most custom. Well, no, we just did the Attack on Neverwinter. That was also the most custom. Back to back, honestly, probably the most custom
stuff.
Yeah, probably the most custom stuff for this campaign, and okay. I'm looking forward to not doing as much of that, frankly.
Yeah.
For the next quest arcs.
Are we getting back into more book stuff now?
I think. Well, we're getting into for the. I don't want to talk too much about stuff we haven't done.
Yeah,
but I'm definitely getting into using straight up dungeons from Ghosts of Saltmarsh.
Okay.
For additional quest arcs, and then by the time you guys do the actual Tentrix thing, that will be all definitely book stuff, I think. So
nice.
We can still seed, obviously some other side ventures and stuff, but honestly, Call from the Deep has a lot of that side content baked in as well, so I can definitely draw from that. This is not a campaign I feel like I have to add more stuff to, because I'm technically already doing that by adding Ghosts of Saltmarsh to it.
Right. Yeah.
Anything else about this particular quest arc of the Pirate Skyhold? Because this is the end of it, so the Genocider stuff was fun to include.
Yeah.
The Earth Moat map ended up being really fun. Huge shout out to Seafoot Games for having an amazing map that I could use for the last 3 sessions, I think.
And good job to you for making it look like a sky map. That was the
that was from Gabriel Picard's Roll20 Marketplace. Yeah, a couple times. There was the other time I had to do that was when we did the bees from Rime of the Frost Maiden. I took 2 maps and then with a bunch of assets and stuff combined them into one map, which was a trip, I think. By the way, this map right here is also from Gabriel Picard's what was it from? I don't remember off the top of my head. It's Roll20 Marketplace. It's one of the Village Builder packs.
Okay.
It's either Village to Pillage or Slap Downtown, one of those. But it's come with a whole bunch of buildings. And this is the big tavern building. I was like, fucking perfect, fine. I didn't want to do a whole city street. It was pointless. I'm like, even if I'll make sure I have an edge around there, because somebody like Raymond's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna walk around in the windows and the back door and stuff. But so make sure not have it just be the map itself. But I definitely look for stuff where I can just slap down the whole thing and we can go from there. So that's what this one's from. And huge thank you to Demnix with the Meganed token.
That was great. That was pretty good.
The original token, the reason he fixed it for us is because the original token is the entire body on a token. It's great map art, I can, well, I mean, where you blew it up before, but it's fantastic map art. But the whole thing is his whole body is shown on the token, so it's really tiny. So what Demnix did to change it is just do the upper. God, he's got a fucking like ripped chest too. That's hilarious. Is to just do the upper half, which is perfect. Okay. So that's awesome. Thank you so much.
And then call him Mega Ned.
And then called it Mega Ned, which is great. Which, you know, a little bit of a downer that by the time he did that, he was getting his ass. Kind of similar to, unfortunately, the Undead fight where also the boss finally came out when like everybody was dead. So we'll see how balance goes in the future. But you guys have been doing very well, I will say, in that regard.
Yeah.
For kicking ass. And now you're about to get a level up.
That's right. Level 7, right? 7? Yeah.
Level 7 next time. So as a reminder, we are out next week. We're taking a break, our first break since the holidays, spring break stuff. So we will not be doing D&D on the 15th. I should be doing my Monday stream on the 11th still. So I'll be doing that, trying to start getting ahead, because obviously going between adventures is a big one, because then I got to shift gears to a whole new thing. Or quest arcs, I guess. Probably won't do a crafting one on Thursday, and then we're off Friday, and then back to a regular schedule from the 18th. So probably it's going to be a weird one, because we're not going to have Chris still on the 22nd. His
Oh, that means I'm going to have to level up after like a turn.
Yeah, we're going to be slightly delayed. But remember, your character is just taken out. They're not there, so we don't have to worry about that. But
he needs to rest a little bit longer than everybody else.
Yeah, we're going to have to level you up on the 29th. But so we should return on the 22nd, but you actually won't see Chris again until 29th. Which, by the way, Heather suggested if you're not doing your movie thing on Saturday, we could technically play Baldur's Gate on tomorrow.
Good, yeah.
Just so we're not out for 3 weeks. I know we also want to play Helldivers some more, but
you're right.
It is otherwise we won't be playing Baldur's Gate for like 3 weeks. So.
3 weeks, yep. Might
be something to think about. All right. Yeah. I think that will do it for this week's Chat from the Deep. Thank you to Chris and Raymond. Thank you to all of our fans for watching. We will not see you next week, but we will see you the week after that. I will see you on Monday, though, for the crafting stream.
See you later.